The first question I had for you is what went into the process of deciding when you were a free agent to come over to the PBC Showtime side of the street, so to speak, and kind of go back that route with your career where it's at right now?
Yeah, so it always has been, my mission to, get with Showtime and PBC to, because one, they do have a lot of characters in my weight class that we can put on great fights. And I believe, that they will push, for them great fights to happen, just as they've been putting on great fights for a long time before me, with me, and after me. And so just, something that's always been on my mind to happen. The process pretty much was, I'm free now. I can write my own chapter towards that, my last chapter in a sense at the same time. And so here we are.
Is it one of those situations where now you can kind of go fight by fight, or did you kind of agree to something more long-term, or you want to kind of keep that flexibility to find the biggest fights, for you?
Now, of course, fight by fight is the best way to go in the sport of boxing. I'm taking the risk. I'm confident in myself. And I believe, I'm looking to get the best fights wherever the best fights are. I don't want to be trapped anywhere unless, it looks good and on paper and on visual.
Now, for this particular fight on the Gervonta Davis pay-per-view, do you see this kind of as a just kind of tuning up because you've been out the ring, you've been injured, kind of getting your skills and everything, your timing back, and then moving on to bigger and better things? And how important is it to kind of showcase those skills on such a big card, so to speak?
No, yeah, of course, man. It's definitely good to get back in the ring. I've been off, like you said, because of injuries and, due to funny business at the same time. But we're here now. I'm taking the steps to, do what I need to do on my end by getting into the door and then going in that room and letting them know, like, I'm here, it's me again. And so, that's the plan, to get the bigger fights.
Is it frustrating? You talk about the business of boxing. You've been one of the, what people would consider one of the top boxers in the game for almost a decade now, but you really haven't quite got that opportunity for various reasons to get kind of that signature fight because people maybe feel like you're too tricky or you're too talented or too high risk. Is that frustrating, for you, as you say, you're going into the latter stages of your career, that the business of boxing has kind of stopped you from getting those type of fights that someone of your caliber really deserve?
Yeah, I'm not going to blame it all on just the business of boxing. Of course, it takes two to tango. Of course, it takes, the business side to campaign the fights as well and get behind it and market it the proper way for these fights to happen. But it does get a little frustrating at the same time for me, and probably for the other fighter too. Is it's like, what's the holdup? Like, at the end of the day, being tricky or somebody be like, why is his right foot and his right hand his lead hand? I didn't know I came into the sport of boxing to fight a guy that has his right foot and his right hand in front of him. So that doesn't really make any sense to be like somebody's tricky or southpaw or all this other lame ass excuses some of these fighters come up with. At the end of the day, I like to say, you say high risk, you still get high reward. Whoever fights me gets the biggest payday of their life as well. So at the same time, I don't understand what's the reason not to make the fights happen.
And ideally, fighting so early in 2023 in January, saying that you get past this point, you sharpen up the skills, get some of the rust off, see how you feel after your injuries. Like you said, the PBC do have people in place at the weight classes that you've been at. Ideally, in 2023 going forward, what would your ideal 2023 look like after January 7th?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't look past anybody, but I am looking past, like, this fight as far as like my future. I'm confident it's me again. Like, I'm going to, be victorious. Charlo, I think that's the best thing that can be made. I don't know how much time it needs to take. It's been a decade, like you said, as far as like career in that rivalry in a sense. Not to like, just bash on him, but there's other guys as well, that when I was with DAZN at that time, there was Hami Mugia. Where was he at? He didn't want to make anything happen. Billy Joe, caught on steroids the first time, offered him to do it the second time. He moved up. He didn't want to do it. Triple G, like there's a lot of guys. Now I can like put the focus over here with the Showtime and the characters in this weight class and put some pressure and like make the call outs like I've been doing all my life to put these fights together. May the best man win. But as long as I can say and they can say, I tried to make it happen. And I did make it happen.
And kind of the last question that I have for you, how are you feeling like physically with some of the injuries that you had that kind of slowed down a little bit of your progress, going into next year? I assume that, you want to try to get this fight in and maybe, like you said, 2 other big fights at least. Do you think physically everything is good and up to par that you can get those, get a little more activity going forward in these kind of last years of your career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, things happen in business and the sport, Yeah, I got a few injuries, but nothing surgically that I needed to do. Just, time heal, little PRP treatment, stem or whatever it is that I needed to get done that was necessary without going under any, surgery. Like, yeah, that's the goal, man, is to put these fights. I feel good. I'm ready to go. I'm fighting January 7th on a card that I'm solidifying by opening it up. Like, I'm opening up. You know what I'm saying? That's big. People are going to be there early to watch Demetrius and Andrade tango. So it's going to be